What's good, everyone? This is Radical Improvements, and this video today is going to be about my experience and results with scalp micropigmentation. What is scalp micropigmentation, you may ask? Also known as SMP. This is a cosmetic tattoo procedure that, when performed correctly by an artist, will create a natural looking head of shaved hair. It can also be used to add thickness to thinning hair or conceal unsightly scars. Alright boys, so today I am going for my first session of scalp micropigmentation. We're going to be, filling the gap in the shadow up here. Excited to see what the guy manages to do. And now we are just after my final session. So it's been 3 sessions, all of them lasted about 3 hours. And as you can see, pretty red right now. We'll see how it looks in the next segment where I've let it heal a little bit and this redness has gone down. So here we are flicking through the angles of the fully healed. This is 10 days after my final session. There's the front side angle, there's the side angle from the left, then the back of my head. And yeah, you can see the work in the top of the crown, especially there. And the side angle from my right side of my head. And yeah, I'm very happy with the results, especially under this soft lighting. It looks really good. Here I'm just going to show you my still before and after that was posted by my practitioner. You can see here how I went in with it. You can see the stubble that I have usually. That M shape really far receded, and then I have like thin diffusion on the top here. It's just stubble. It grows out a little bit. If I grow it long, you can sort of see the shadow. And then a month later, we get to ta-da! This is like just after the 3rd session. And you can see like my head is really red. Like he put some cream on it to reduce the redness. But this is like directly after session 3. And you see he's brought the line up here. He's restored basically what is my natural hairline. Like I still had the stubble. You can still see like a decent amount of my like actual hair popping through. And the SMP is, blended in with that hair. And he has blended the color pretty much perfectly with my remaining natural hair down here. He was pretty happy about this from a blending in with stubble perspective, I think, because I'm strawberry blonde and it's a more difficult shade to achieve. So, happy my guy's happy. I'm very happy with the results. So here I am sitting with it, just on camera under the lights. Actually, it looks kind of worse when it's under harsh lights. I found in the gyms and everything, it doesn't look as full, but in natural light, it looks, much darker than it does. And also, I've let my hair grow out a little bit here. I actually should be, staying more on top of shaving my head down. So, but you can see like the blending, like that's real hair, like there, that's not. It's like the blending is really good on the job that he did. And I think that's really important for me in terms of like why I got it, because I was very much on the fence. So the first question I want to answer in this video is like, why did you go and do this? And I've been very much on the fence about any form of like hair restoration or doing anything cosmetically to my head after I went bald. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do restoration really because I didn't have enough donor hair area. I didn't want to go and do wigs or anything like that. So realistically, I just kind of accepted being bald, shaved my head down and like got on with life, built my like inner confidence, built my success with, in dating specifically, like figuring out whether was I still attractive with a bald head was a journey for me. But there was always like a part of me that was like, if there's some form of like looks improvement that I could do, aesthetic improvement that I could do, that I would do it. It's just that nothing I saw out there had like that natural finish to it that I really was that interested in going to get, especially because I couldn't do full restoration. Also, like the wigs and the hair systems are very good. They look great, but I've heard some like stories about the old ones and like, it just isn't the thing I'm into. The hair systems, I think the hair systems look really good, but I just wasn't interested in going full restoration. A few guys I knew had done SMP though. They had done this and this was the one that always interested me for the last last 7 years or so. And I decided that once I'd saved up enough money so that it wasn't a huge hit to, my life bankroll, that I would, go for it. And then I was like, I'll just see if I can find someone at some point that I trust to do the procedure. And if I'm happy with the results that he's had, specifically, I was unable to find too many examples of like blonde and strawberry blonde people that had done this procedure. Most of the guys had been, like darker complexions, darker hair types where it looks really good, like naturally and easily with like tattoo ink. But, someone like me who's got lighter hair, it's like a concern that I'm not going to be able to find someone who's capable of doing this.
but I found someone in Vancouver, Rob James, who I'd recommend if anyone's in the Vancouver area, who is, very good at recreating natural blends of hair with this sort of procedure. And yeah, his results were like exactly what I was looking for. And he's actually a bit on the, the slightly more expensive end of the scale, but I don't think this is something you want to like skimp on in terms of your money. If you're going to find someone who is quality and has a good track record, it's worth just, like paying what they want if it's something that you want to do. I also always had this specific insecurity regarding the back of my head. I never really cared a huge amount that the front of my head was bald because I have a good head shape for it. But like always walking around whenever I had stubble with this hole in the back of my head, like the general like old man effect of having that bit there. I don't know, this never stopped bothering me. And one of the biggest benefits of getting SMP was just fixing this bit at the back aesthetically. And I will be 100% upfront and transparent that this was an insecurity that getting the SMP has completely removed. No judgment for any guys who don't want to go through this stuff. No judgment, obviously, to guys who, really like the bald look. I was never enamored with the bald skin look. I think if I'd shaved down to skin bald and been happy with it, then I would never have done this. But I always preferred like grade 1, grade 2 buzz cut look. And as I started losing my hair more and more, that look didn't look as good as when I had more hair volume. And SMB, obviously, this is like trying to mimic a buzz cut look. And that's like the whole point. So I was able to basically get back to my favorite hairstyle, essentially, which was always a short buzzed haircut. You guys don't have to be nice to me about how it looks. I think the result is fucking banging, personally. I've actually got a top-up session in a couple of months, but for the moment, I'm really happy with where it's at. I touched on it briefly there. I wanted to answer the question of, is it expensive? And typically, I've not seen any like good SMP practitioners offering for, say, under $2,000 US. I think you're looking at least that and probably more. I've spoken to my friends who are in America and they paid a few more than that. There are practitioners in the UK who I think are around that level. This cost around $2,500 US in total. So yeah, it's something that I saved up for and I planned for with my finances. It wasn't like a spur of the moment thing. Like I was waiting to a point where I was able to, take that sort of hit in terms of money, and comfortably so. So that was like one of the reasons I waited to get it. But I've decided I was going to get this for the last 2 years or so. It's just been a case of like saving up for it. So if you are considering this, do understand it's not a cheap procedure and you shouldn't be looking for it to be a cheap procedure if you can avoid it. Because I'm assuming you're not going to get, it's one of those ones where you don't want to, skimp on the price because you're buying like a quality procedure that is going to have a nice look, natural finish to it. You want someone who is highly skilled, and highly skilled people are probably going to charge more money, especially guys with big track records, lots of testimonials, lots of guys who are happy with their results. That's going to cost more money. It's just the way this stuff works. So yeah, I wouldn't understand it's not cheap. It's cheaper than hair restoration though, based on the prices I've seen for that. So, make your decision based on your finances if it's something that interests you. The other question I had, and I think a lot of people have with this, is does it hurt? I'm not going to say there's no pain at all, but if you compare it to say like a normal tattoo, if anyone's had like tattoos on any other parts of their body, it's less discomfort than the standard tattoo needle. But your head is a sensitive area. So you have a needle that's a lot smaller than a tattoo needle, but on an area that is quite sensitive. So those two things kind of balance out and you get some level of discomfort. Rob was a really fucking good guy to talk to though, and he kept my mind off of it just by us chatting away. There are going to be parts of your head that are more sensitive. Like I didn't really enjoy much of the crown when it was done. I didn't enjoy like the front line that much when it was being done, especially like around here at my temples. So there is that to be aware of. It's one of those things where your pain tolerance might be a thing. The sessions are fairly long as well. Like I don't think I had any sessions that were under 3 hours. I was like going in at 11 and leaving at 3. That kind of time I was spent when I was in the chair getting it done. And yeah, understand it's like 3 fairly long sessions. And maybe there'll be some, while you're going on, they do have like numbing creams. They will obviously, you can obviously just listen to music if you don't want to talk to the guy who's doing it or the girl who's doing it. Maybe find a practitioner who you have a little bit of rapport with. Because for me, it was really just about sitting still while I was having this procedure done. And it was like, if you're having like mild discomfort and you have to sit still for 3 to 4 hours, it's kind of like annoying at times. But yeah, eventually by the end of the third session, I was almost falling asleep in the chair because I was face down actually in like a massage table, sorry. And yeah, the whole like easiness of the procedure at that point after like, what is that, like 9 hours of having it done, I was borderline like just falling asleep while it was going on to that, that whirring sound of the tattoo gun. What is the aftercare and general maintenance like? Well, the aftercare, they should, if they know what they're doing, give you the procedure for it. And typically you're not allowed to touch your head for like 3 days afterwards. On the 4th day, you are relatively healed. But the guy I had, Rob, he was very insistent that I don't sweat too much for 10 days after the procedure. Because the sweat, it seems, pushes... You can have like problems with the sweat causing infection, but also it pushes the ink out or something. There's other things going on as well. The reason you have multiple sessions is that your body's, I'm going to butcher the science of this a little bit, but your body's natural immune system like fights the ink, if that makes sense. Like it takes the ink out of your skin because that's like a foreign, that's foreign object to your immune system. So it tries to like get rid of it. And that means you're going to lose some of the ink after your sessions. That's why you have multiple sessions. One session will not be enough, my guy said, because yeah, you're just not going to have enough retention. I actually had a really bad retention after my first session. So I went back for the second session and he was much more pleased with the retention of the ink after the second session. And in the third session, we managed to fully flesh it all out and get like a proper baseline. And then I've got a touch up in February, it will be. And that will be, I guess, his last chance to really like dial in. Were there any areas where I didn't fully retain after the third session? So yeah, he does it in a situation of 3 sessions and then 1 touch-up session within 6 months, which seems to be the general process. Like most guys seem to offer touch-up sessions, which you'll have to go for. General aftercare as well, like wearing hats if you're in the sun, because all tattoo ink is going to fade in the sun. So that's something you got to be aware of. Just don't be an idiot directly after the sessions, I think. Like, just follow the instructions. He gave me some cream to put on as well after the final session, just to stop from flaking, because your skin flaking can also remove some of the SMP. So there's just general stuff. Listen to your practitioner if you're getting it done, and he'll give you the ins and outs of the aftercare and like just general how to maintain it and look after it. The other thing is, as I said, I think earlier in the video, if you don't shave your hair as it's growing out, it like ruins like the look of the SMP versus when you have it down shorter, the SMP is going to look better. It's designed to mimic I think a 0.5 grade is what it's designed to mimic. So that's basically like almost like a no guard shave. I don't shave down to skin very easily. I have to use one of those like head shaver things, but no, I'm not going to shave down to skin anymore. I'm just going to use my razor with no guard or like minimal guard and go all the way. How long lasting is it was the other question that I had. And apparently it's like every 3 to 5 years, you're probably going to need a top up in order to keep it at the level it was when you got it. It's going to also depend, like on how much you take care of it. Like if you're going out into the sun or you're going tanning beds and you just like destroy the ink, then that's going to make it a problem. The ink fades to a tone as well. That's what happens with tattoo ink. You go from the black and it fades into a different tone. So you have to just, keep an eye on it and then book some sort of top-up procedure every few years. Some of the guys this guy looks after go top-ups really regularly. Like some of his clients, he said like top up every 6 to 12 months. And I don't think I'll be doing that. I'll be letting it like fade out naturally and then going back to someone. But yeah, it seems like you can really stay on top of this stuff if you want to. It depends on how much money you have for top-up procedures. So all the way. I think like it's probably comparable to like hair restoration as well. Like some of your restorations I see, like their natural hair loss starts to catch up with the restoration or whatever, and they have to go back for more hair restorations. So I think it's comparable to like the other things we have at the moment. That was all the questions that I had for my guy before I went in, and so that's why I put them in the video. If you guys have any questions that I haven't covered, leave them in the comments below and I'll get to answering them. Peace out.